we don't have a straight linear line from the moment that we're born to the moment that we exist in currently. The reason being is that we go to sleep every night.
Right.
It's a weird thing. We shut off every night, and we wake up intermittently, and you go back to bed. Maybe you have to pee. Maybe you're thirsty. You go back to bed, and then you wake up again. But when you wake up, you are just waking up. Like when I woke up this morning, I don't know if this is the life I've always lived.
Right.
I'm assuming it is because I have all these detailed memories of the past. I see my dog. He reacts the exact same way he always does. You know, I see my wife. I see my kids. I see my house. It's the same house that I remember. But I'm not sure. I just woke up.
Right.
I'm a little foggy already.
It just exists in your memory at that point.
It just exists in your memory.
And so
this might be the first day of my life.
Right. If suppose that you can implant false memories, right?
Right.
So this was a popular topic for Philip K. Dick, right?
Yes.
Movies like Total Recall, and even in Blade Runner. Right? You know, I interviewed his wife while I was researching, my book.
He was a wild boy.
He was an interesting guy, right?
Yeah.
And he said some interesting things. In fact, all the way back in 1977 in Metz, France, at a sci-fi convention, he said, there's a pretty famous quote. He said, "We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is if some variable is changed, some alteration occurs in our reality." Right? And that's become kind of a famous quote in the simulation world. But if you listen to the rest of the quote, he says, well, we would basically rerun the same events and we would change some variables, right? And we would have a sense of deja vu, like maybe we've already done this, right? Maybe I've, talked to you before,
right,
in a different run of the simulation, right? And this idea, like after I wrote my first book on this topic, the simulation hypothesis, this idea wouldn't leave me that, well, if you can run one simulation, you can certainly run it multiple times. In fact, that's what we would do, right? If we were running a simulation of the weather, we wouldn't just run it once. We would run it multiple times. And if we were doing a simulation of whatever, right, pandemic, anything, name it, we would change the variables and we would go forward. And so, when I interviewed Tessa, Phil K. Dick's last wife, she said that he came to believe this was really happening, right? That someone was altering with our reality and they would change a few variables and rerun the simulation forward. So now we're getting pretty deep in the rabbit holes. And this is the topic of my second book, which is called The Simulated Multiverse. This idea that each of these timelines could be like a different run of the simulation itself.
This is a video of Rizwan Vir, who is a video game designer, and he has written a book around this simulation theory, which I'm sure Elon Musk से आप लोगों ने काफी सारा सुना होगा कि हम शायद एक simulation में जी रहे हैं. And if you people really want to go down that rabbit hole, बहुत सारी किताबें भी हैं, बहुत सारे theories भी हैं, बहुत सारे scientific nuances भी हैं. A lot of people actually believe कि ये सच है. मैं इस बात पे debate नहीं कर रहा हूँ कि ये सच है या नहीं है, because again everybody has their own theories. मेरा जो interesting bit मुझे इस वीडियो में लगी वो था when Joe Rogan talks about we are not living our life in a linear path. Every night we go to sleep and then in the morning we wake up. मतलब हम रात में सोते हैं और सुबह जब उठते हैं तो हमें पता नहीं है कि हम जब सोए थे उस टाइम हमारी जो जिंदगी है वो हमारे दिमाग में प्लांट की हुई है या फिर वो एक्चुअली में हुआ था. हमें लगता है yesterday हम क्या कर रहे थे, and because एक चेन ऑफ थॉट है और एक चेन ऑफ लिनियरिटी है जिसके थ्रू हम ये कह सकते हैं कि हाँ भाई ये सच है. लेकिन अगर वो चीज प्लांटेड हुआ आपके दिमाग में तो फिर आपको क्या लगता है, हाउ वुड थिंग्स गो. एंड the second part of the whole discussion is when they are saying कि you will only know that you are living in a simulation अगर किसी ने कुछ variables change किया, आपकी reality को उन्होंने change किया है. जो कि Matrix मूवी में अगर आपने देखा होगा तो डेजा वू वाला जो कॉन्सेप्ट है उसके बारे में बात होती है. एंड एक्चुअली अगर आप ये सोचो कि आप सुबह को सो करके उठते हो एंड फाइंड आपके कुत्ते की जगह एक बिल्ली हो गई है पेट, एंड एवरीथिंग एल्स रिमेन्स द सेम, एंड यू हैव फेंट मेमोरीज कि शायद मेरे पास एक कुत्ता, but शायद नहीं. So this is what I found very interesting about this video. Again, it's a simulation theory. Everybody has their own thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think that we're living in a simulation? Please comment section में हमें जरूर बताइएगा इस बारे में, और हम मिलते हैं आपको नेक्स्ट वीडियो में.